Chadwick. Who is Kate? Congratulations! Everyone cheered as Kate stood next to Nelson in front of the room. The party was to celebrate their engagement, an engagement Kate was struggling to remember saying yes to. As she stood in front of the party to thank everyone, she looked around the room. Each face she saw, each set of eyes on her, was a stranger. Kate didn't know these people. Where were her people? Why was she being paraded, yet again, in front of Nelson's friends? Was this what her life was going to be? Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm so excited that you're here to celebrate with us. I feel like I've come a long way the past few years, and this marriage will be what makes me even better, Nelson said. The smile on his face somehow seemed evil to Kate. Was he marrying me because he cared? Or was he marrying me because it made him look better? Or was it because Nelson could finally beat Chadwick? Outside of the party, the town of Red Lawn Cove, California was doing what it always did. Looking pretty. It was a beautiful oceanside town, loaded with palm trees and beautiful beaches. The town was encompassed by suburbs overflowing with oversized mansions. The center of town had its own unique charm. While Ranchero Boulevard was the center of nightlife of the town, the Ocean Boardwalk was a thing of beauty. It had numerous small shops selling everything from food to custom-made shoes. During the day, all of the action was on the boardwalk. While tourism wasn't what drove the boardwalk, it certainly didn't hurt the local economy. One of the local favorites at the boardwalk was a small, pink building. It looked run down, with minimal effort put into the landscaping or upkeep. A large red sign on the door threatening to kill any food inspectors only added to its unique charm. The man who ran the shop moved to Red Lawn from a small town in Alabama, one that no one seemed to know. The sign above the entrance read 4 simple words: Chester's House of Goulash. Hey man, welcome to Chester's House of Goulash. I'm Chester, what you want? Chester asked Kate as she walked in. She struggled to understand him. It was like he was talking to her with a mouthful of marbles. She pointed at Eva, who was sitting at a booth, scooting past Chester and sitting next to her friend. Eva, this place sucks. Why do we come here? She asked. Cheap food, good service, Eva replied. Kate wasn't sure that either of those things were true. I just got done with my party. It was more like Nelson's. What am I doing? Kate asked. Kate trying to find stable boy-man friend, Eva said. There was a honk of a horn outside. Doug had pulled up in his rusted old van. Eva waved. Eva go on date with Doug Bear. We talk later, Eva told Kate. Eva stood up and left, heading out the door to her knight in shining pizza delivery armor. Kate nodded, sighed, and then picked up her fork to eat a taco salad she had ordered. This food sucks, Kate thought as she slowly ate alone. Eva opened the door of Doug's van to get in. As she pulled the handle, the door dipped as it swung open. Oh yeah, the door is a bit tough. When you close it, just pick it up, Doug explained. While Doug had a terrible car, Eva didn't care. She liked who he was, and the fact that he was a pizza delivery man didn't bother her at all. Doug pulled into a parking spot at Joy's Mini Golf. The park had a theme based around a cartoon lizard named Joy. The mini golf was played inside of her home, with each hole being a different room. It was one of Doug's favorite places since he was a child. As Doug excitedly lined up his first shot, Eva could only smile at him. He loved life and was always himself. That was what Eva was always looking for. The hole-in-one that followed was a cherry on top. Eva then lined up her first shot. Hole-in-one. Doug and Eva played the entire course, with Eva getting 7 holes in one. Doug, on the other hand, got a hole-in-one at every hole. His picture, which was already on the wall 43 times for perfect games, was added yet again for number 44. Wow, what a Saturday, Kate thought to herself. She was engaged. This was supposed to be the happiest and most exciting time of her life. And all she felt was alone. She was sitting in a crappy restaurant, eating a crappy taco salad. Was this all life had to offer her? Was this her future? Kate pondered quietly as she ate, her eyes looking down. "Brah, Kate, how's the taco salad?" a voice said. It was Chadwick. He sat in a chair across from her. "Oh, hey, Chadwick, it's, passable, I guess?" Kate said, somehow unsure of herself. "Brah, grub, sweet. I ordered 4 pork tacos. Things are killer. I was gonna go to the beach, but I can hang here and chat if you want," Chadwick said casually. Kate smiled. "I would love that, Chadwick," Kate said. For the first time all day, Kate didn't feel like she was alone. Doug grabbed 2 baskets from the food truck he was standing near, each packed with a massive hamburger and overflowing French fries. He carried them over to the picnic table Eva was waiting at. "Here you go, Eva! One genuine truck burger," Doug proclaimed. Eva took the basket and started munching on the fries. Doug grabbed the red bottle of ketchup and gave it a squeeze. Ketchup shot out all over the table. "Oh man, dang ketchup! Sorry about that," Doug exclaimed as he started wiping up the mess with napkins that felt like cardboard. Eva chuckled. "Doug Bear, what you want to do with life?" Eva asked him. Doug looked at her as he thought. "I guess I like food, so I would like to try and become a chef. I think I'd be good at it. I love working at the pizza shop, but it's getting old. I'd also like to buy a real house, not a trailer. I mean, I would love to buy a house, settle down, maybe have a kid someday. That all sounds good to me," Doug said. Eva listened as Doug spoke, trying to envision what Doug was saying and what he wanted. "Brah, heard about the engagement. How is that?" Chadwick asked casually as he looked at Kate. Kate set down her fork and took a deep breath. She was trying to give a composed, stock answer. "Oh yeah, it's really exciting and rewarding. I'm having so much fun with it all," Kate said. Chadwick set down his taco and looked at her. "Brah, Kate, you're a bad liar," Chadwick said. He then picked up his taco and began eating again. Kate, stunned by how easily he read her, froze. "What do I say right now?" Kate thought as she began to run ideas of how to answer through her head. The only logical conclusion that Kate had was to be honest. Instead of responding, Kate broke down and started crying. Chadwick paused and looked at her. "I hate it, Chadwick. I hate it all. Nelson is selfish. Everything we're doing is about him. My thoughts and opinions don't matter. I'm just an accessory for him in his life. I always thought getting married would be so amazing. It would be like my fairy tale wedding. But I hate it," Kate sobbed. Chadwick, who was watching her as he ate his taco, nodded. Kate buried her face in her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. What about you, Eva? Why did you come back to Red Lawn Cove? What are you trying to do?" Doug asked Eva. Eva liked Red Lawn a lot. High school was fun. Many good chances to do exciting things here. Eva powerlifting champion in Switzerland. Figured Eva come here and lift things up, set them down, Eva said. Eva smiled at Doug, who had ketchup all over his face and shirt. Eva, grabbing a napkin, leaned in and wiped Doug's face. Eva also liked this area and people. Kate, best friend Eva ever had. Missed her too much, so came back. Meeting Doug Bear makes this place even better. Eva would love to have a house and family. Someday, Eva opened big powerlifting gym. Someday soon, Eva hope, she said with a confident smile. Brah, sorry, Chadwick said, unsure of what to do or say next. He, simply put, was not prepared to handle this type of situation. But he was going to try. Hard. Look, Chadwick, I know you have a really cool life and your parents help you out a ton. That's awesome, but I never had that. I had to scratch and claw to get everything I've ever had. I feel like I've been working nonstop since I was a little kid and I can never get ahead. I wish someone cared about me, because based on Nelson's actions and words, I don't think he cares at all. I just want to matter to someone. That's all I'm asking, Kate said through tears. Chadwick reached out and put his hand on her shoulder. Brah, Kate, you matter to a lot of people. Eva's your best friend. You guys do everything together. You matter to her. And hey, it might not change much, but you matter a ton to me, Chadwick said. Kate picked up her head and looked into Chadwick's eyes. It wasn't the look he normally had. It wasn't the whatever attitude. It wasn't the carefree, laid-back bro. It was genuine. Kate could feel it. She took a deep breath as she wiped the tears away. She smiled at Chadwick. For some weird reason, you matter to me too. I lost my parents when I was 6 years old. They died in a boating accident while I was being watched by my grandma. I will never forget that day. I was such a happy child. And when the police car pulled up, that happy girl was gone and never ever seen again, Kate said sadly. Brah, Kate, whoa, I'm sorry, Chadwick said quietly. He could feel her pain. My grandma had to tell me that was the worst part. I wish she didn't have to do that. It was so hard on her. My parents were amazing. I cherish those 6 years. They were the best years of my life, Kate said with a sad smile. Brah, Kate, hopefully you can find a way to have, 80 more awesome years, Chadwick said with a positive twist. Kate smiled at him. He smiled back at her as he began devouring his second pork taco. After my parents died, I moved in with Grandma, and she tried so hard to give me everything. I was just a kid. I had no idea how to deal with anything, let alone my grief. I just felt so alone. But my grandma was in my corner. She went out of her way to be what I needed, and she did such an amazing job, Kate said. Chadwick could see how fondly she thought of her grandma. Brah, Kate, I'm glad you had your Grammy to be there. Grammys are super helpful and they make amazing cookies, Chadwick said. He was thinking about what he would do if he was alone. He had no idea how he would survive or do anything. Could I make it alone? Who would do my laundry? Chadwick thought to himself. He looked up and met Kate's glance. Their eyes remained locked as they smiled at one another. Kate is, the most awesome person I've ever met. Ever, Chadwick thought to himself. Kate looked at Chadwick. I'm telling him everything. And he is listening. What? Kate thought to herself. Chadwick's ability to listen and understand was one of the most amazing things to Kate. When I was 10 years old, Grandma started acting different. She couldn't remember anything. She started getting mad at things that she never would have before. She went to the doctor and they told her she was really sick and didn't have long. I remember sitting with her on the couch as she told me. She was bawling, but I just felt so numb. I was so tired of losing people, I just couldn't react, Kate said somberly. She lived for another 2 months, but things were so bad at the end. I know she cared about me and my future, but I just kind of fell through the cracks. Everyone was so focused on her that I was just forgotten. Chadwick looked at Kate as he chewed on his last taco. She was bearing her soul to someone, and for once, that person was fully listening. After Grammy died, I still lived at her house. I had nowhere to go. I was just by myself. After a few months, the house got sold. I kind of slithered into the background. I would sleep wherever I could, friends' houses, the school gym, Kate recalled. I wanted out of that life, so I started working really hard at school in gymnastics. I was good at gymnastics, and I saw it as a way to get out of my situation. I was 13 years old and just trying to survive. I spent all of my time either practicing or studying. I felt so alone that ignoring the world to focus on what I needed to do seemed like the only option. Bravo! Chadwick replied. He was processing everything Kate said, and he was unsure of what to do or how to respond. He could see how open and genuine Kate was being. All he could do was listen. Marcus isn't my dad. He was one of my mom's friends who felt bad for me. He found out I was homeless when I was 15 and took me in. He gave me enough stability to hold my life together. I will always be thankful for that. My hard work paid off, and I got a gymnastics scholarship to Caltech. I worked hard there and got my degree in education. I got a job at the elementary school in town teaching first grade. I wanted to be able to help kids like me who really needed it. I don't want anyone to ever feel alone as I did, Kate said sadly, but with a smile. Brah, Kate! Those Rugrats are lucky to have you, Chadwick said with a smile. Kate smiled. Maybe they think I'm mean, Kate said with a wicked chuckle. The two laughed, breaking the dark gravity of the conversation. Chadwick, I feel like I've been fighting out from under a huge rock my whole life. I'm still clawing. Will it ever stop? Kate asked. Chadwick had no answer. I really thought Nelson was going to change all of this. I thought getting engaged, sharing my life, getting married, all of that would change the feeling of being alone, Kate said. But here I sit. I'm engaged to a guy with a job, a house, a future. I'm planning my wedding with him. He's always there. But at the same time, he's never there. He's too busy worrying about his own battles and creating imaginary ones to fight. Kate looked at Chadwick. She could see him processing everything she had said. She knew he was smart. What kind of thoughts would he have? What kind of whimsical advice could he offer her? Kate sat and waited to see how Chadwick would respond. Chadwick stood up from his chair and walked around the table next to Kate. He looked down at her. Yeah? Kate asked. Chadwick reached down, wrapped his arms around Kate, and picked her up in a huge hug. Kate felt his arms around her. She felt safe. She felt like he listened. Kate lost control and started crying in his arms. Chadwick held her tightly. Brah, Kate, it's okay. You're not alone. A lot of people care about you and want you to be happy, Chadwick said reassuringly. Please just always be my friend. Do you promise? Kate begged through tears. Brah, Kate, I got your back, Chadwick said. She smiled at him, and somehow his simple phrase made her feel safe. As we would find out later, he meant every word he said. Doug slowly pulled his van into the parking lot of an old auto parts store. He looked at the receipt, checking the address. He then grabbed the pizza in his passenger seat and stepped out. Weird, Doug thought. Who would order a pizza in an old parking lot? Doug scanned the parking lot. He saw various potholes, weeds growing out of thin pavement, but no people. Doug looked at the receipt again. He was in the right spot. Pizza? Anyone? Doug asked loudly. Just then, Doug was blinded by lights. It was a large truck. It revved its engines twice before doing a burnout and rocketing towards Doug. Doug ran behind his car before peeking over to see if the truck was gone. When Doug peered over his hood, he saw CM and Jeff standing there. "Hey, Dougie, where's our pizza?" CM asked. Jeff held out a $50 bill. Doug, shaking his head, stood up and handed Jeff the pizza. The three men chatted for 30 minutes and ate pizza. They decided that what they needed was to find Chadwick. "Hey man, how you been?" Chester asked Chadwick in his heavy southern drawl. "Bro, it's going. How's selling poorly made food going?" Chadwick asked. "Hey man, pretty good," Chester exclaimed. Chester was the owner of Chester's House of Goulash. He was about 6'6" and weighed 350 pounds. He always wore green overalls and a white t-shirt that was covered in various stains. Was he a mechanic? No, he was a chef. Not a very good one, as it turns out. "Hey man, that cake girl be nice. You guys a thing or not?" Chester asked. Chadwick shook his head. "Brah, nah. She's engaged to some dork chop," Chadwick replied. Chester chuckled. "Hey man, seems to be to me that there girl has a fixin' for some you, if you know," Chester replied. Chadwick, even with an IQ of 246, had no actual idea what Chester had said. Frankly, no one ever did. That was his charm. Chadwick smiled at him, turned around, and headed into the night. Kate parked her car in her driveway and headed towards her front door. What a day it had been. She had the party with Nelson. That was awful. Then she ate a taco salad that was also awful. The only positive? She had to talk with Chadwick. Wait, Kate thought. Why is that the only positive? As she walked up her entryway, she noticed something in front of her door. It was flowers! Flowers always made Kate feel better. She picked up a bouquet of 24 roses and smelled them. The aroma of the roses filled her nostrils, and for a split moment, Kate forgot about how bad her day was. She saw a card sitting on the ground. It was from Nelson. Kate read it. Dearest future Mrs. Finkelman, I love you and I'm looking forward to marrying you. We will take on the world as Mr. and Mrs. Nelson Finkelman. The last line of the note stuck with Kate. Did she really want to be Mrs. Finkelman? Was that all she was going to be? Kate had a sick feeling in her stomach. Okay, look. First we sneak into his room, all quiet like. Then we pull out these possibly fake handguns I found at the park. Then we act like we were robbing him and take all of his money and credit cards. And then we say, got you, really loud after a quick shopping detour. CM was hatching the best plan to scare Chadwick. Jeff simply nodded as Doug looked perplexed. Wait, why are we scaring him? This never works, by the way. I've tried it a million times, Doug replied. No, Doug, you're such a Debbie Downer. It will work, CM replied. Jeff nodded in agreement. No, it won't, Doug said. Bro, yeah, if you're trying to scare Chadwick, you need a way better plan, someone said. Look, we will scare him, CM said, as he turned to the person who had just spoken. When CM saw who it was, he jumped. It was Chadwick. Brah, you guys are loud, Chadwick said with a laugh. Brah, I need help cheering up Kate. She had a crap day, and she's marrying Nelson. That will ruin anyone's day. The odd group of four spent the next 20 minutes hatching another plan. As Kate opened her door and walked in, her phone started ringing. She looked at her phone. It was Nelson. Kate sighed as she answered the phone. Before she could speak, Nelson started talking. Kate, great, you finally answered. Don't make me wait more than 3 weeks. We talked about this. Nelson started with an annoyed tone. So, the wedding is coming up fast. I spoke with our caterer today. I figured you didn't have time. We're having meatloaf with fried potatoes, carrots, and bread. I picked, so it's done. You know, you should be thankful that you have a husband who takes care of things. All of the hot air made Kate cringe even more. Meatloaf? I hate meatloaf, Kate thought to herself. He didn't even ask me how my day was. Kate was having a mild internal panic attack as she listened to the insanity. Nelson talked about his day and the things he wanted to do, never once acknowledging Kate. The song for our first dance is going to be The End of the World as We Know It by R.E.M. I love R.E.M., Nelson informed Kate. At this point, Kate had muted her phone and Nelson was none the wiser. What a terrible first song, she thought. I'm planning on wearing a blood red tuxedo with a bow tie. I know the white is a common wedding dress color, but I was thinking about going with something more pastel, Nelson droned on. Kate, for her part, wasn't paying attention to a word he was saying. Will this shit ever end? Kate wondered to herself. There was a loud crash from Kate's driveway. What was that? Kate thought. Nelson, I'll call you later. Something happened outside, Kate said as she hung up the phone, not even giving Nelson a chance to respond. Kate looked out her window and didn't see anything. She walked to her door and opened it slowly, poking her head out to see what was making the commotion. As Kate ventured further out of her front door, she still saw nothing. Why was it so dark? Why did I not replace the outdoor light? Kate thought to herself. As she stepped into the driveway, she was suddenly blinded by 2 bright lights. Then, the song Don't Stop Believing started blasting. Kate's eyes adjusted to the bright lights. The first thing she saw was CM staring at her blankly. Am I about to be robbed? Kate thought to herself. She then saw Doug and Eva, who were both waving at her. Jeff opened the door and got out of the truck, waving at Kate. As Kate stood looking at the floor, she felt a hand on her back. She turned around and saw Chadwick standing in front of her. Kate was shocked. Brah, Kate, driveway dance party. Bad day? Dance party. Good day? Dance party. Just dance party, Chadwick explained. Kate smiled at him. What Chadwick didn't know was that the song he picked was her dad's favorite song when she was a kid. Chadwick, Kate, and the rest spent the next hour dancing the night away in her driveway. After an hour of dancing, CM and Jeff were called to an emergency tow. Hopefully, whoever called them received actual help. Doug and Eva hopped into Doug's van and headed off. Brohim, Kate, we will see you later, Doug said as he got ready to drive away. Doug Bear smell like pizza. Eva want a taste, Eva proclaimed. Kate and Chadwick chuckled and waved goodbye. Kate and Chadwick were lying in her driveway looking up at the stars. Chadwick, thanks. Just thank you for tonight. I needed that, Kate said as she looked at the Big Dipper. Brah, Kate, dance party. It was awesome, he said as he looked at the stars. Kate turned and looked at him. How is he so perfect? She asked herself. Why am I with Nelson? I need to just say what I feel. Kate then looked at Chadwick. He nodded at her. She took a deep breath, rolled on top of Chadwick, and looked in his eyes. Brah, Kate! Sup? Chadwick asked. Kate proceeded to hit Chadwick with a deep... Cut right here. Kate proceeded to hit Chadwick with a deep, long, romantic kiss. As Kate pulled away, she looked deep into his eyes. Kate said the only thing that was on her mind. Chadwick, I love you.